Hello again and welcome to another bearing removal and installation video featuring Boca bearings. Now today we're going to be removing the bearings on replacing the bearings on a 4-stroke engine. This is a Magnum, what's the exact designation? XL70 RS. I believe that's the exact designation. They've got some complicated designations for their 4-stroke engines. But it's a 70 size 4-stroke engine. Now this engine came to me and it looked quite new or very little runtime, but once I got it disassembled, the bearings really don't sound all that healthy for a very low time engine. So let's go straight to the table and I can show you and let you hear that, and then we'll get on with the removal and replacement of these bearings. Okay, so here on the table I've got my pretty much empty Magnum XL70 RS, I believe. 4-stroke engine case, cleaned up. Well, it's not really cleaned up. It actually needs to go in the cleaner. But it's fairly clean because it's a very low time engine. But listen to these bearings. For such a low time engine, it's amazing to me that those bearings sound like they do. But maybe that's just because they're lower quality bearings. So in addition to that, I've got my standard hardwood block, my light hammer, and my flat nose punch to help me get these bearings out of this engine, along with my desk vise, heat resistant glove, and my heat gun, which I am going to use right now to heat this case up so that we can get these bearings out. Let's see if that's enough. So this iteration of Magnum engines was made in the same factory in China as was the Sanye factory that made ASP and maybe even another SC type engine, SC branded engine. So maybe I don't have that hot enough. There we go. Alright, so our crankshaft came out, and it doesn't feel like our bearing, our main bearing, obviously didn't come out with it. So let's see about punching this front bearing out here, and then we'll assess what we need to do for the rear. Our front bearing is out now. Let's see if we're going to be able to get a lip on this thing at all. Okay, yeah, actually it does feel like I got a nice healthy lip there, so I'll be able to punch this out like this. But I think what I want to do is I want to heat this up a little bit more. It just doesn't feel like it's all that hot. And it's always much easier, the more you can get this aluminum to expand from the steel bearing race, the easier it is to get out. Let's see if that little bit. So yeah, I've got a good edge there. That should be it there. And there's our bearing. Bearing's a little warm. Crankcase is kind of warm. So here's our bearings that came out of this engine. I think I better leave this on. This is a pretty rough looking bearing for the condition of the engine. At least the external condition of the engine looked very, very new when I took it apart. Let's see, the front bearing is it's got a rubber seal on both sides, which I don't understand that, because I'm pretty sure these are the stock bearings from the manufacturer, and I don't understand why they would do that. This one has a phenolic race, and it's open, so that's as it should be. I don't know how, yeah, it's still pretty warm too, but let's look inside here real quick and see. Hopefully you can see it is pretty dirty in there. So it's got some runtime on it, but I mean, judging from the external appearance of this engine, it looked brand new. From the external appearance, it looked new, but the inside is obviously telling us a different story. So I'm going to turn off the video here, go clean these parts up, and get ready for the installation. Okay, I'm back here. I've got this crankcase all cleaned up. Before I talk about the crankcase, I'll just say I've got my same tools, my same wood dowel, I've got a glass jar that I dispense my assembly lubricant into to put on the parts, which is Lightning Lube's Road Power from Boca bearing. I really like this. I just did another bearing replacement, so I believe I've got enough fluid in here, or road power in there, to do this. I've got my short socket extension to drive the crankshaft home, a small flat nose or flat tip flat blade screwdriver to remove a seal on the bearing, my hammer, desk vise, glove, and heat gun. So what I think I've determined after the amount of cleaning that was required on the inside of that case, I've got this crankshaft basically looking like brand new. It's cleaned up nicely now. What I think I've determined with this engine is that it was a very low time engine, but was just not taken care of. It was run a few times, 2-3 times, and then just put away and not properly cared for. Now the camshaft bearings are in fine shape, but there was just a lot of buildup in there that needed to be removed. So let's talk about these bearings that I'm going to put in here first before I go to lubricating and installing. This is a kit number for the Magnum XL70 RS, or maybe it's RFS. It's ENK-0-01. It's ENK-018 HP. So this is the high performance bearing set that we're going to be installing here. And I thought it's already open. So let's take these bearings out. So it looks like this front bearing is going to need to have the rubber seal removed, and the rear bearing is fine the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and lubricate these parts up first before I deal with the bearings. So let me just get some road power all over this. And as long as I'm here, I might as well get it ready for reassembly too. So this is all nice and cleaned up. Lubricate the inside of the cylinder here, as well as where the bearings are gonna go. Okay, so I'll grab my little paper towel. So let's pull these, now that those are ready to go, let's pull these bearings out. Take one side of the rubber shield off of this one. And this one it's got a phenolic race, but you can see there's a big gap in there, big opening, so plenty of, it's basically an open-sided bearing. It's just the race is phenolic. So let's get one of these seals out. So what I do here is I just take this thin blade screwdriver and go in right above the inner race and just lift it up and pull it out just like that. So now this bearing is ready to go. Let's get a little bit of lubrication on that, the inside here, the outside here. So what I like to do when I'm installing these bearings is I'll always put the main bearing on the crankshaft first, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the phenolic race that way, and I just put it on here and slide it in place. That way when I install the front bearing, it acts as a centering mechanism. So the front bearing is ready to go. All I have to do now is wipe my fingers real quick, put my glove on, and heat this crankcase up, and let's get these bearings installed. I would think that would be more than enough to facilitate bearing installation here. Time will tell. And that front bearing is in. Now let's just drop this rear bearing in here. Centering, it's centered in there. Use our beat up socket extension to drive this bearing into place. You can kind of tell by the sound when it's fully seated, and it is fully seated. Boy, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. You hear anything? Of course not. There you go. That's all there is to installing removing and installing bearings in this Magnum XL70 RFS 4-stroke engine.